my page is public. I'm not a celebrity, so my page is
no, yeah, me neither.
whatever. Okay, I think we're live, guys. So wait a minute. Let me just verify that we're live. But I think we are. So don't say nothing crazy right now, because I think yeah, we are live. We're live. So Sekou, if you can just go to my page, and if you hit the share button, it'll share to your page. And I'm sharing now with the groups that I'm in. All right. Okay, I'm just going to share on my People of Power page, and then we can get to rocking and rolling. But I want to thank you all so much, so much for joining me tonight. I should have had this show sponsored, because I know it's going to cost me a pretty penny, because you all charge a lot. So I want to just, give you charge to the...
No, the cheapest lawyers in town.
Okay, no, you're not. Okay, so we got some viewers. And let me just log in, so if I can see anyone that has anything to say or want to say hello to you all. But again, thank you for joining People of Power. I'm your host and creator, Kitty London. And every week I sit down with movers and shakers, CEOs, entrepreneurs, and people who are doing amazing things. Originally, this show was supposed to be the father and son edition, but Mr. Lorenzo's sons were not available. They're flying and doing something. So I wanted to make sure that they did get a shout out, because Mr. Lorenzo does have children that are in the law field as well. So I have the two Garys. I have not one, but two. So again, this is going to be an expensive show. Mr. Gary sat with me 2 years ago. That's crazy. It was 2 years ago that I sat in his office, his library, and we talked about his lifetime experiences. And I'm still awed. I saw the interview again today, and I was still awed by the things that you said. I said, you are a walking lifetime blockbuster movie, Mr. Gary. You have so many things that people would probably say, no, that didn't happen. That couldn't have happened. You're born in, you're not born in Belgrade, but you were raised in Belgrade. And right?
Pahokee Belgrade.
Pahokee Belgrade. And at one time, you couldn't even afford $10 for college admission. And then you turned around, fast forward, got on your plane and pledged $10 million. Those are the highlights that I'm like still in awe about. A $30 billion verdict, historic for the team. Everything that I read about you, to me, it's just something that people would not believe if it were not said out your mouth. So I just wanted to give you kudos on everything that you've done. You've given people hope that a Black man in America who came from humble beginnings can be who you are, superstar in many eyes. And not taking anything away from Mr. Lorenzo, because I'm going to get to him too, because he's been doing amazing things, and Sekou as well. But I just want to give you that, and a lot of people admire the whole team.
You did the right thing.
I just wanted to mention that, because it's like I said, that the interview still today gives me chill bumps in your story. And I know we can't take up the whole time with you today, because we got two other amazing guys on here, but I just want to make sure that for the younger generation who may not know who Mr. Gary is, I want you to Google him. I want you to Google them, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Just simply amazing. So I'm going to let you all do a soft introduction, and I want you to introduce you the way you would do you. So Mr. Gary, I want you to go first. I'm kind of going the way I see you.
Well, thank you very much, and I want to thank you for the drive that you have in making this program, this show, what it is, because I know it's not easy putting down a foundation and building on top of it higher heights, and you're to be commended. We're proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing, and I think for you, the sky is the limit. There's no doubt about it. And you're like myself. When times got tough, you just refuse to be denied. And I'll never forget it when you first brought me on. it took us a while to make it happen, but you didn't give up, you didn't give out, you were down but never out, and you made it happen. So I've got a whole lot of respect for you and your drive. And of course, with me and Lorenzo and Sekou, you know, you have the best and the brightest in the legal profession. My partner Lorenzo is, I mean, he's phenomenal. He really is. He's made, he's won some major cases, and the guy's he's just so smart and so bright. And, you know, he refused, just like we came out of the same background, really. Farming, he's a Georgia boy, Goose, South Florida, working in the fields, things of that nature. And of course, Sekou is, he's let, and you can't tell him any different anyway, so I had to give it to him. He's just as we used to say in the bean fields, he's a bad dude. Well, he really is, and I'm proud of him because, you know, in this business, just like with Lorenzo, Sekou, the same. You gotta have talent, and you don't learn it. You're born with it. And I'm proud to say that he's a heck of a lawyer. He's a hell of a lawyer, and I'm proud to say that. And on top of that, he's my son, so it makes me feel real good to know that you know, he's doing what he's doing and making a difference. So I got my son, I got my partner. I mean, and we're sitting talking with you. It doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't.
Right. Listen, you heard it from Mr. G himself. So, Miss Lorenzo, I want to make sure, because I know you got a lot to say. You're looking like you got a lot to say. So I want you to do, of course, your introduction too. But also, I want to reflect on, and we're going to do the introductions first, and I want to go back to you. But yes, just go ahead and let us know who you are and what you represent, even though Mr. G just told us. But I want to.
Well, the truth be known, I'm a country boy, grew up on a farm, and I still think that some of the best value as a human being one can get is having spent time on a farm. You know, a farmer has a lot in common with a lawyer. Every day, a farmer has to get up, has to jump on a John Deere tractor, or a Ford tractor, try to get the weeds out the road to grow a crop so he can take to the market. A good trial lawyer, wake up every morning, get to his office, he opened his books, he tried now to work on cases for his client, to get results for his client. He burned the midnight hours, and he never say no, even when the times get difficult. You still try to find a way to get your client case to a jester or to the court to get a good results for your client. So I've been blessed in more ways than one. God smiled upon me. One of the things I always say was, Willie and I both attended Shaw University. He's about 4 years older than me. But we've been partners together for, believe it or not, 42 years. And it's been a great ride, and sort of hard to believe when you first start working with someone. You never know whether the road will lead to 1 year, 3 years, but this has been really exceptional relationship, friendship that we have established over the years. And we're proud of it, because at the end of the day, we hope that, you know, when we stop practicing law, we have created a legacy that become a sounding board for other young African-American kids who come up from poverty, can analyze or use as a roadmap to say, never give up, just work hard, and you can accomplish your goal. that's one of the things I'm always proud of is you know how you can work with someone for 42 years and be friends, work together, and produce. And so I think one of the things I can also say that I guess being a lawyer for 42 years has spun 3 of my kids are lawyers. And one worked for the firm now. Hakeem, his brother, twin brother, is a associate general counsel with Diamond Chrysler in Portland, Oregon, and his sister Ayana is a professor at Villanova Law School, and she also worked at the Federal Public Defender Office in Philadelphia. I can't forget my baby daughter is a dentist and professor of dentistry. Not my baby daughter, my oldest daughter, Rayshunde, at Nova Dental School. So all in all, I think you know one of the things I'm proud of is that you know you work hard, you develop good work ethic, and you try always, you know, no matter when I see kids that come in the office of parents, we have a job to speak to kids, encourage young folks to be the best they can, because as I tell them, when they come in my office, after I get finished talking with them, at some point we have to pass the baton to the next generation. And the only way you can hope that the next generation be prepared when you have the opportunity to impart wisdom with the kid, encouragement with young folks. You know, that's one of your goals and opportunity as a human being. It's not counting the money. It's really seeing what you can do to help bring the next generation up and make them productive in life. So I could go on and on, but I don't want to monopolize the conversation at this point in time. But if you have any questions, just ask me a question.
I have plenty of questions. I know that was listen, that was a soft introduction. Now we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes in a minute, but I gotta give Sekou his introduction. And that's actually a great segue because you're talking about passing the baton.
Yes.
And that has happened with you, Sekou. So I kind of want to know again with your introduction, what made you want to fall into the footsteps of your father?
Okay. Well, I got kind of start with my beginning. I'm pretty much just a small town kid from Stewart, Florida. Was raised there, went to high school there, Martin County High School. And I went on to North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina, where I pledged at Kappa Alpha Psi one time for the Alpha Kappa chapter. And after that, I went on to law school at Quinnipiac. And I'll jump back a little bit out of my introduction and talk about why I wanted to become a lawyer. Obviously, I was blessed and to be in a position where I had a father that was practicing law, number one. And then I was doubly blessed to be in a position where I had a father and a godfather who were building a practice that at the time when I was a child, it was history in the making. And I was there, you know, just being a part of it, just being around that all the time. Whether it was seeing my dad look through files at the table or going to the office with him on Saturdays. I remember him and Lorenzo having meetings on Saturdays. And I actually, there was times where my dad would let me and my older brother skip school on Fridays when he had closing statements. So I was always around law. So it was pretty much, you know, second nature to me. And my dad said I was born with talent. And I don't doubt that for a second, but it was also a blessing to be around these guys and to soak this stuff up every day, to, you know, put it on top of that God-given talent that my dad says that I have. But after I became a lawyer and went to law school, it was kind of a knee-jerk reaction for me to say, I'm gonna be a lawyer, because I always wanted to be like my dad, like most kids. And then when I started studying and started working, I always had an appreciation for what we were doing, but that's when I really started to get the fulfillment of helping people. So I know what I finally got a chance to see what my dad and Lorenzo, what that feeling was like when they help somebody. And it's not just about money, and people say that all the time, and people kind of, you know, shrug it off, but it's really nothing like it when you have, especially with what we do. We help a lot of injured people or people that are in disadvantaged situations. And when you have people that come to you with their life in shambles, and you're put in a position where you're able to do some good in their life and maybe not fix what happened to them, but definitely create a better situation and give them hope and reason to keep going forward. It's nothing like that feeling. So once I got a taste of that, I was hooked, and I carry those works on with helping people. Also, I'm a board member at large for the National Bar Association, which is the oldest and largest association of Black lawyers and judges. It represents the interests of 65,000 lawyers and judges nationwide. So I'm very proud of the work that I do there. And that was also inspired by the service that I saw my father and my godfather, Lorenzo, put before me. So I just been blessed to be in this situation, and I'm thankful for it.
I don't know the exact timeline, but I remember when Mr. Gary was talking about, he worked at the Pelican Hotel where he did his dishes and he cleaned. And fast forward, he ended up buying the hotel, which now you all practice in. Sekou, you were living at that time and you were born at that time. So what was that like when Daddy came home and said, you know what, I bought the hotel?
It was pretty neat, number one. But it was a time in my life where it was like things happening in my life as a kid. It was like as my dad was like just hitting each level, we would see it. So it was like one day, we live in this house, and then one day he come home and said, we're moving to this house, and we thought that was cool, and just kind of seeing him go up, because as a kid you really don't, you're not counting money or doing anything like that. You're just living and you just experience it. So it's, the things that you remember are things that have an impact on you. I remember when he bought that building, I remember he had worked there, and for me, I was a little bit older, probably in my teens at that point, maybe around 15 or 16. So I was probably in a better position to appreciate, what it meant to him to have bus tables there and to come back and be the owner of that building. So it was, it was just me watching him and Lorenzo just go to these levels as a kid. It just was inspiring, because it seemed like every day I come home, there would be a new plateau that he was embarking upon. So it was exciting, definitely.
Uses the word, the terminology, fire in the belly a lot. I'm going to get to you, Mr. G, in a minute, but he uses that terminology a lot. So when you're seeing your dad, break down boundaries, make history, do you say, now I need to get the torch and I need to keep this legacy going? Did you feel some type of, command to do that? Because
I feel the responsibility. Absolutely. I feel the responsibility, because I feel like God put me in this position for a reason. It was a reason I was born son of Willie Gary. There's a reason why I was given these talents. It was a reason why I'm doing these things I'm doing. And I take it as a responsibility to continue and carry on with helping people. So I definitely feel, I guess if you want to call it pressure, that's what drives me. But I think more of a responsibility of something like this has been built, and it has to be carried on. Maybe I don't do it the same way he does it. He's one of the best to ever do it. But in my own way, and with my own contributions, we got to carry the spirit, of what's been created here on and spread it, beyond us.
I love it. I know you all are getting some kudos and likes. I'm gonna try to get to as many comments as I can, but I know that we got some information to talk about. So Mr. G, I know this is new for you because you're Cancer. Your birthday is July 12th. I just want to say happy birthday before I forget, because you are Cancer as well too. Someone who has traveled so much and seen so much, how have you been doing right now in this pandemic where you've kind of been just, home? And
I'm doing fine, spending 24 hours a day with my wife. We're having a ball. We only fight about 15, 20 times a day. And I'm still waiting. I've been taking some with it. But other than that, now, it's all right. Yes, she checks me in at the door. I got to wash my hands. I got to go back. She got a little tub outside. So I have to jump in the tub and then come in the house. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun. It brings you closer. You know, I'm ready to go back now to the real world. There's no doubt about it. But and of course, you know, our law practice. We've just been riding through it's been the last couple of months. Just been, you know, most of our people and had to, because everybody had to stay home. They had to work from home, and that was we made a little adjustment. Thank God we're back to work now, so that's good. And I'd say to everybody out there, you got to obey the rules, because the virus doesn't respect or know anyone, and it's dangerous. There's no question about it. It's dangerous.
I want to ask each of you this, so kind of think about but I'm going to start with you, Mr. G. You have been through a lot. You've seen a lot. I remember you talked about, you know, back in the day where you picked cotton and peas, and people who are like maybe 70s babies and 80s babies, they don't know anything about picking cotton and peas and any of that. It's like, no. So you've seen a lot. So now you go to 2020. It seems like we're almost back to some of those ways now with how the racial injustice is going. How are you feeling about America right now and being a Black man in America?
Well, I'm feeling like we're rising to the top. I'm feeling like we're making some serious progress, and we're gonna make even more. I really feel that way, you know, because having come up the rough side of the mountain and working from sun up to sundown in the fields, and you know, just having to make ends meet, and that's the way. And I'm sure I speak for Lorenzo too. We both are Georgia boys, and cotton picking kids, bean picking kids, sugar cane cutting kids. I mean, it didn't hurt us. You know, we just had to do more. You had to work harder. And our parents, and I know with Lorenzo's dad, I mean, you couldn't fool around. You had to get it done, because he told me some of the stories that, you know, he's had with his dad, and he'll probably share something with you. But in terms of making it and not complaining and not giving up and refusing to be denied. But America is in a position now to pay a debt that's been outstanding to the African-American people for many, many, many years, 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, hundreds of years. And I'm glad to see it, because I see Black and white people coming together, you know, and it's a serious business. It's nothing to play with. It's about what we can do together to show the world that we're all in this together. And I like what I see. I like, you know, because you never want to see anybody get hurt. You never want to see anybody die. And it shouldn't be that you have to die. Someone would have to die to get us on the right track. But, you know, God works in mysterious ways. So, you know, and he's too wise to make mistakes, and he's too just to be unfair. So I take it as a sign of progress. You know, you're going to see some changes in America, and it's going to be because Black people and white people and people of color, Hispanic people, all of us coming together, reaching out to each other, pushing each other, and helping, not complaining when one of us seems to never be able to make it, or we're down and out. You know, it's because of the system. I mean, we've had to play. We've had to beat the odds, because the odds clearly been against us. And I like what I see now. I see it in the streets. They're dancing in the streets, and it's a good dance. It's a dance we got to keep dancing till America lives up to the true meaning of its creed, and that is justice for all, not just white people, and for all of us. And I think that we're on the right track now.
And I like how you always emphasize, no matter how many toys you have, you know, Bentleys, Mercedes, whatever you may have, you always tell people to remember where they came from. Because at the end of the day, you know, I always say that it doesn't matter what your titles are, but if you leave and you're in a white t-shirt and gray sweatpants, nobody knows who you are. They don't, they don't know all the things that you have, and you're still a Black man at the end of the day. So I know that you always emphasize that no matter how high you get, don't forget where you came from. And I think that's a message that a lot of people still need to hear.
Yeah, that's so important, that you never look down on anybody unless you're picking them up. And we're in this together. You got to refuse, and we have an obligation to our young people. That's why I think Lorenzo, Sekou, and along with other young men and women in our firm, Phyllis Gillespie, Sean Bryant, all working towards making our young people, or helping them to be all that they can be. Because God has blessed us. He's blessed Lorenzo in a mighty way. He's a hardworking kid, but he grew up on a farm.
I see that staircase in the back. He's blessed. I see that staircase, Lorenzo.
But he worked for it.
I'm just an observer. I just had to say that.
Sure. And unlike Sekou, Lorenzo and I, we had to pay the price. We had to burn the midnight oil. Sekou, that boy, he was just born with the talent. It's in his vein, it's in his. He's a heck of a lawyer. But at the end of the day, America is going to be a better nation than it has been. And it's going to be because Black people and white people are turning to each other to see to it that, we level the playing field. We play some catch up here. And I think the big corporations understand that. And it's not just, it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. And I see that taking place, and I'm excited about that.
Mr. Williams, how are you feeling about the state of America, being a Black man or Black individual?
Well, I look at it this way. First of all, I think the Lord gives us no more than we can bear. He just sometimes puts situation in front of us to test our soul and test our faith. And when I see the current situation today, we look back at the history of America. It always has been a struggle for African American and people of color. But today I see a turning of the tides. I see where young folks who's out exercising their First Amendment rights, protesting, trying to make changes. But also what I see too in a lot of the demonstration that give me confidence that we will survive. I look at the crowd that's out there. It's a very diverse crowd. Young white folks and people marching and protesting. And that's what it really takes, because it's not just African-American issues and problems, it's American issues and problems that we have to deal with. And the only way we can deal with it, we have to be true to each other. We have to be able to speak truth to power. And we have to be able to hold folks accountable for their misconduct, and for their actions. And so you see now with the Me Too movement, the Black Lives movement, and things of that nature there, I applaud those young folks who have the courage to go out and march and stand up for their rights, because they are noble. And the reason I say they're noble, because, when you see the way the law enforcement, some of the officers, with any organization, any profession, there's some bad ones, that's a good one. But so happen now that we're seeing a lot of police misconduct, just really police committing crimes towards African American and other people of color and poor people. And now with 20 years ago, we didn't have phones and that could capture this live, and they could get away with it. Now, just about everybody out has a cell phone that can capture things in real time. And then when you capture things in real time, it becomes really persuasive evidence who did it, and they can't duck and dodge from that. But so I see America, we at that point, and I think every 50 years, 100 years, the country goes through those changes. But I think now is it's a good time to be in America because all of us now have a job to do. We just can't sit back and wait and depend upon politicians to pass bills. We as citizens, we have to start with our home, teaching our children, our neighbors, kids, and teaching them what's right and what's wrong, and encouraging them to become good students in the classrooms, be good citizens when they see people and learn to speak to people and be polite, teach them work ethic, and it's more important than anything else, teach them integrity. There's nothing in life to me more important than integrity. When you make a mistake, admit that you did something wrong. So where I see the country now is it's a turbulent time now because I think a lot of it come from, not all, but a lot of it come from a lack of leadership in the White House, as far as I'm concerned. We have a president now that says dumb things. He doesn't tell the truth. He blame other folks for things rather than be a stand-up guy. And see, when you have a human being, a man, a president, a lawyer, anybody, you have to be true to yourself. If you're a leader, when you make a mistake, you have to acknowledge your mistake because you can't get folks to follow you if you lie and don't hold yourself accountable for your conduct and your action. So when I look at things now, I just think that we all got to keep working hard. We got to keep doing our share to try to make this country better, our community better. And we really have an absolute obligation to work with our young boys and girls and young folks to try to strengthen them mentally, academically, spiritually, so they can understand that the price we pay, you pay a price for justice, you pay a price for success in life. And we want our children to understand the history, understand the history of America, and understand that they have an obligation to just like these young folks doing now, because that's power. When you see folks marching, protesting peacefully, but with a diverse group, that sends a big message to the power structure in America that guess what, things will get better, but it will take some time, and so I see things in America. You go back 30 years, 40 years, Martin Luther King was living, that was segregation at its worst piece. You go back another 100 years, that was Jim Crow life. You go back 200 years, that was slavery at its worst. You follow what I'm saying? And so, we at this point in time where, there is upheaval taking place in America, but I do think that we have good leadership in terms of the African-American community and across this country. And we just got to work together and work hard and speak truth to power. And that's what we got to do. And I think we have a duty to our young folks and the whole community. We all have to make sacrifices to make this country a better place. If we just tuck our tail and blame everyone else and don't do work, we're gonna find ourselves in a pothole. So I see America will one day rise up again and be true to itself.
Sekou, how do you feel? Your time, Sekou.
Okay. Yeah, I think that right now the culture is changing as it relates to Black boys and girls being killed by police officers and no one caring. Like Lorenzo alluded, we had, and my father also, we had Black and whites out protesting together, and unfortunately, it took more white people speaking up to kind of bring attention to the matter. I think what's more important too is that these officers are being charged now, and if it's something that they know that they can't get away with, because there's a reason why white people didn't have the same problem being shot by the cops in routine traffic stops, because the cops, they didn't do that to white people because they just felt like it would be scrutinized more and they could be charged. So now that this kind of value is being put on Black lives and these cops are being arrested and being charged, I think it can change the culture of these rogue police officers. A lot of good police officers out there. I don't want to put everybody in the same bucket, but I think they have to understand that these crimes these are crimes that they're committing, number one, and they're going to be punished. And I think it's a beautiful thing that so many people other than Black people stood up and let their voices be heard, because when everybody ignores it or white people are silent about it, it's almost like acceptance. And I'm just really, happy to see that happened. I think, there's still work to do. We got to make sure that these people are getting convicted, and a message is sent that it's not open season on Black lives, with these police officers and things of that nature. But I am happy that this is a change that I hadn't seen. We've seen a lot of killings, similar storylines. We've seen them on videotape. We've seen a lot of senseless murders. It's a shame that it's taken this many of us to die to get to this point. But we see, we saw murder after murder after murder, and it seemed like it was the same story over and over again. So hopefully, the ending of these stories will change, and it'll end up with these police officers, behind bars, and it'll send a message that this is not acceptable. It's not something you can get away with, and I think that will curb the behavior. But as far as race relations, I'm proud of the country. I'm proud of the world, for not, turning a deaf ear to, our plight. We've been doing this, it seems like, for 400 years, fighting this fight, and finally, not, I won't say finally, there's been a lot of good people along the way, but now the global response is something like I've never seen in my lifetime. So I'm happy about that.
Definitely a year that we will all remember. Mr. G, I need you to dig deep into your soul, because I know you have a little preacher man in you somewhere in there, right? Miss Lorenzo, I need you to get your Bible together too. So I know why you laugh. I need you to get your sermon together as well. When I talked to some seniors, it was about a month ago, and I know you all probably been affected too, where you have children who graduated in your families who were not able to graduate the traditional way. They were not able to have proms. They were not able to have grad bash. They were not able to walk the stage and throw up their hats. And for a lot of them, they were actually down, because that's a pivotal moment in their lives, in their families' lives, that they can see them walk. So I always turn to people who have been through adversity, who've seen worse than that, to kind of give them some advice and just let them know that, everything will be all right. But I know it's easier said than done. But I like your messages, Mr. G, because you kind of can get people out of a rut mentally with your speeches. So if you could just think about something or some things that you can say to people or the nation who are just feeling down right now and just lost, I would love for you to do that if you can.
Well, thank you. Let me just say this to our young people, and specifically those who missed graduation. Missed graduation this past month. Don't give up and don't give out. Keep on moving towards being the best that you can be. We're counting on you. We need you. We can't make it without you, young people. You're our best and our brightest. And if America is to be all that it can be, it's going to be because you shouldered the burden. So I say to you, you're graduating, you're taking the crops to the market. There's no doubt about that. But I want to know, what are you going to do? I feel good about our chances with you, but you're going to have to step up to the plate. You are our future leaders. You are leaders of tomorrow. You got to make it happen. No excuses. Make a decision that you're going to be all that you can be. You're going to be somebody. Because if America is to be the nation that it can be and should be, it's gonna be because you picked up the baton and you started marching and you didn't quit. You didn't give out. That's the good part about it. So I feel good about our chances in America because of you young people. I know you missed graduation, and I know that's a big deal because it was a big deal for me, and I'm sure for Lorenzo and Sekou. But better than that, and over and above that, you have a chance. You have a chance to change the world. We're feeling good about it, the marching, and the young people, young, bright people, college, educated, high school, family members. Some of them had their babies with them. We're gonna turn this thing around, and young folks, it's gonna be because of you. Because you didn't take no for an answer, and you worked hard and you paid the price. So I wanted to say that to you because, you know, we know what you can do. We know you didn't get your graduation, but that's all right. We know that down the road, when it's all said and done, you know, your name's gonna be in the history books. And let me just say this about, you know, our fellow brothers and sisters. God is, you know, he's blessed us. He blessed Lorenzo. He blessed Sekou. He blessed a lot of us in a mighty way. But I always say to people, when you get blessed, make sure that somebody else is blessed. And you can do that. Don't ever look down on anybody unless you're picking them up. We have an obligation to do that. To those who are less fortunate than you are, young folks, who never had a chance to graduate from high school, never had a chance to go to school. Down and out. But thank God for you, and I want to applaud you and say congratulations for being, for moving on from high school now to whatever it is you want to do, college, trade, whatever you decide to make it. So I'm excited about our young people. I really am, because they are our future. There's no question about that. And if this movement that started is going to really make a difference, it won't be because of those of us who maybe paved the way in some kind of way, but it's going to be because of our young people. Refusing to be denied, refusing to take no for an answer. And young people, let me tell you, you're blessed. And when you make it, don't you hang out your do not disturb sign. Don't put on shades of indifference. Because some of us do that and have the nerve to think that we got to where we are on our own. But I'm here to tell you, and it's good to say it, that you didn't get to where you are on your own. You got there because of those who marched on Bloody Sunday from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama. Those who stood at the Edmund Pettus Bridge, saw the dogs coming, saw the troopers coming with guns and knives and all of this, but they kept on marching. They were marching for you seniors. They wanted to make sure that in the year of our Lord, 2020, that you'd graduate. Now you owe it to them. You have an obligation. You owe it to them to be somebody. You don't have the right not to, because people died from the dog bites and the billy clubs. They died. And there was a 97-year-old lady. But thinking about you, you weren't even born, young people. She marched to blisters and blood were on her feet. Someone said, well, we'll let you sit down for a while. She said, no, I must keep marching. I gotta march on. The blood doesn't matter. I gotta march on. But seniors, she was marching for you. And you don't have the right to let her down. Make it happen. You're graduating, no doubt, at home or wherever, but don't matter, that doesn't matter. Get it done. make the contribution. And at the end of the day, and I know this may sound a little out of whack for someone that don't understand, but keep God in your plans. Keep God in your plans. You're going to be great. Some of you may become president of the United States. There are great things out there for you, but at the end of the day, you keep God in your plans, because I declare if you do, the roads will always rise to meet you. The wind will always be at your backs, and the sun will shine warmly upon your faces, young people, and the rain will fall softly upon your fields. Until we meet again, hopefully on a show like this, remember, God will take care of you.
Tell me, see, I want to just pass the collection plate, but I cannot do that right now. Told you. It was in them. We'll pass the collection plate after all the deacons have spoken. Deacon Williams.
Yes.
I need you to give the nation and the world and the seniors a word of encouragement. Whatever you have in you, just let it out.
Well, I'll say this to the young seniors and young folks, and people, no matter who you are, where you are. I was always taught by my father that if you're able to say good morning to the rising sun and say good night to the setting sun, then you've been given the opportunity, a wonderful opportunity to do your best. And to the seniors who graduated what I consider to be a non-traditional way, not going across the stage and getting their caps and gowns and all that good stuff there, just remember, that's pomps and circumstance, and we all enjoy it. But remember that the most important thing, we hope that you got a good education and that you have a game plan to move on forward, because life deals you some tough times at times. And it's how you handle the tough times that determine what type of person you are. So now you had no control of this pandemic, and the professors, teachers, and the superintendent of the school system had to make changes for your safety and for your parents' safety. And so look at that as a blessing that they was concerned about you. And although you couldn't have your traditional graduation, but most importantly, if you attended school and you worked hard, you made good grades, the question now, what you gonna do with it? Are you gonna sit home? Are you going to college? Are you going to the military? Are you gonna become entrepreneurs? Those are the type of decisions that you have to think about now, because you've gone to college, a school for 12 years. And now you got to tell yourself, what can you do to make you become a productive citizen? Some people may go to college, some people may go to the military, some people may go to other schools, may become entrepreneurs on their own. So the key thing is never give up. Never question yourself that you cannot make it. You just have to realize that tough times make tough people. And when you have this challenge in life, you have to just look yourself in the mirror, say your prayers, and ask Almighty to smile upon you and wake up with the energy to try to become the best you can be. And let me tell you, life is not full of roses and good times. There's going to be some hard times in life, but it's how you handle the challenge in life. And one of the things, hopefully, your education at your first level of high school has taught you, be strong. Don't be afraid of challenges in life. And know that if you want to become successful, you can take a look at Willie, myself, people who came up from tough backgrounds, but we didn't give up, because although we may have been poor monetarily, but if you capture the ability to read, write, speak, and have good work ethic, you can become anything that you want to be in life. And so I'm saying to you, wake up every morning, give thanks to Almighty that you work, that you're awake, that you have a good mind, a solid mind. You have the strength to go out and be productive. Because you may look at yourself and say, oh, we didn't graduate traditional way. But you just got to put that behind you and look forward. Always continue to look forward. Look for the bright things in life. Look for a way to become the best you can be. And that's all we can ask for you. Give 110%, work hard. I always stress, you got to have integrity. You got to have good work ethic. And you got to be able to call balls and strike. When you make a mistake, don't learn to put the blame on someone else. You have to acknowledge always when you have dropped the ball or done things wrong or didn't do what you could have done, because that's what will spark you. Integrity is very important in life. And work ethic is very important in life. And the challenge that life presents to you, it's important that you be prepared to meet the challenges, no matter what they are. Because if Willie Gary from a farm field myself grew up on a farm from parents, didn't have a lot of money, but they had good work ethic. If we can work hard and become successful, you in this date and time where things are a lot better for you than it was when we was growing up, you just have to work hard. And if you work hard and have integrity, and that's, to me, that's very important, to have self-integrity. When you make a mistake, don't blame other folk. Acknowledge your mistake. And when you don't know, don't be afraid to go ask someone for help, to help you understand something. And I would say to you that you can be anything you want to in life, but it doesn't come free. You have to pay the price. It's a price not by money. It's a price integrity, work ethics, and studying hard, and you can make it. And you can be anything you want to be in America. That's a golden opportunity for all of us to be successful, but you got to pay the price and burn the midnight oil. Work hard. Don't make excuses. Acknowledge when you've made a mistake, but never give up. Never give up. And then don't be afraid to go and ask another friend or adult or someone. If you have problem understanding something, don't be afraid to ask another person to explain something to you, to help you with things, because when you grow up, become better at your profession, people are going to come to you and ask you to explain things for a helping hand. So what goes around comes around. And so I say to you, every morning that you wake up, say your prayers and give the Almighty credit for watching over you at night, giving you the strength to answer the rising sun, and giving you the strength to work hard and become whoever you want to be in America. It won't be easy. No one will give you nothing. Things won't be given to you. You have to earn it. And just know, if you work hard, if you earn it, you can become anything you want in life. And I like to say that Willie, myself, we're getting old now. At some point in time, we have to be able to pass the baton to the next generation. And the question I ask you, will you be ready and prepared to accept the baton and take it to the next generation? I know you will if you believe in yourself and you work hard. And I pray that the Almighty give you the strength, the courage to be a good citizen. And may He smile upon you and forever keep you wrapped in His arms of protection. God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend Williams.
I know. Listen, Sekou, I don't know how you want. Listen, after the pastor and the reverend them went. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna just have to go for the motivational speech and let the preachers preach. What I would say to the kids, one, about missing your graduation, definitely. I know that's a bummer, but high school, one thing that no one can take from you are the experiences that you had during that journey, freshman year, all the way up until the time that unfortunately, you probably had to go home for the quarantine, but you know, you still have your friends in those relationships. And once we graduate from high school, we do look back at those as some of the best times of our lives. So don't take it for granted that you know you had a great 4 years, but you know, for missing this ceremony, which is, you know, commiserates everything you went through, definitely. But it also symbolizes the journey, and you did have a journey, and you will be able to come back in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20, 25 years, and get with your classmates and celebrate, you know, the journey that you had through high school, from freshman year, from being, you know, the least wanted people on campus, to, you know, your senior year, to, you know, to being the big men and big women on campus. That's quite an experience going through that whole transition. So, you know, cherish that. You had the journey, that can't be taken away from you. And going forward, just focus, you know, focus and identify your dreams. One thing about dreams, they're always in formation. So the dream you start with today, when you get to the finish line, it may be something different from what you started with, but the key is never giving up and always having it under construction. You may change your major or change your mind on what you want to do along the way, but the biggest thing is to keep going forward and always have forward momentum. You want to try to identify what you want to do and take the steps towards that. You've been faced with a great deal of adversity this year, and you know, like Lorenzo said, God doesn't put anything on us that we can't handle. It was a reason that you were faced with this adversity, and you're going to be faced with more adversity. So this probably was a test. So when you face adversity in the future, you've already had experience there, so you can draw from this on how to go forward. Sky's the limit for everybody. Life, you know, is what you make it. Like I said before, you plan things a certain way. They don't always go the way you plan them, but one shouldn't get discouraged, because as long as you're moving forward, you know, God has a plan for you, and as long as you don't give up, it's gonna come to fruition. If you quit, it never will. And sometimes you can't see the light. Sometimes you can't see what's around the corner for you, but you have to keep going and understand that staying focused, working hard, you know, it's gonna reap the benefit. It's not a cliche. It's what really matters out here in real life. It really is. So I'll leave you with those words, and congratulations.
Now, this is a term that you're familiar with. We're going to do closing arguments, because we've come to the end of the show. I know it's going by very quickly. So I'm going to start with you, Sekou, since it was still on you. This is your time to do any shout outs, any future things that you're doing for us to look out. If you're accepting new clients, whatever you're doing. So this is like your closing arguments to give your final wrap up for this segment.
Well, yeah. Well, thanks. Number one, Kitty, I'd like to thank you, you know, for giving us the audience here today. A pleasure to be here on the show. To everyone out here, I'm a civil trial lawyer by profession. I handle a lot of injury cases, different types of injuries, serious injuries, and not so serious injuries. We kind of do it all. So if there's anything that I could help you with, please don't hesitate to reach out and contact me, or anyone at our firm for that matter. As far as the NBA, I always got to give a shout out to the National Bar Association. Lawyers, any lawyers, Black lawyers, white lawyers, any lawyers watching, the NBA, we spoke about race relations. They're on the front line fighting the fight. All the lawyers you see on TV handling these cases are NBA members, whether it's Benjamin Crump or Chris Stewart. And I'm forgetting some people's names, so guys forgive me right now. But you know, we need help. You know, we need help with the NBA. We need more members. We need more people to sign up. So I would give that pitch to any lawyers watching. Black colleges, I'm proud graduate of North Carolina Central. So shout out to North Carolina Central, Kappa Psi, shout them out earlier, but all Black colleges, guys, alumni, support your school. Give back to your school. We don't do it enough all the way across the board. Do that. thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Williams, your closing arguments.
My closing
Yeah.
argument to the seniors and to
Or to
other
anybody, just everything. Shout out.
to the seniors, to the young folks. I'm just biased towards young folk because they are the future generation. And I would say to young folks, anyone, the first thing I'd like for you to do is to just continue to work and develop a good character. Don't let anyone pull you into the rut. You got to have integrity. You must have work ethic. And one of the things I say to anyone, when you make a mistake or do something wrong, don't point the finger at another person. Just acknowledge that you did wrong and just try to learn from that mistake, because we all make mistakes in our life. But the question is how we deal with it. Do we dig a hole and put our head in the sand, or do we look ourselves in the mirror and say we was wrong, and that we promise ourselves and challenge ourselves that we won't make those mistakes again? Because life deals you some tough hand. It's how you handle adversity in life that determines what type of person you will be. And God knows that no one just got a free day. No matter who you are, you make mistakes. Life gives you some difficult challenges. It's how you handle yourself. And to young folks, one of the things that my pop always told me, that was a little phrase, HOW. And he said, if you, his kid, you had the H stand for honesty, no lying, no stealing and cheating. O stands for obedience, that's rules and laws to follow as a person. And the W doesn't stand for William. It stands for, if you're a William, you'll learn to work. So between, being honest, following the rules, and developing work ethics, it creates for you a solid foundation as a person. Because Willie would tell you, we've been successful practicing law, but there's challenges in practicing law. We like to think that we've been very successful, but there are some cases that we have lost. If any lawyer tell you that he hasn't lost a case, I guarantee he hasn't tried one, and you have to, that's just life, and so one of the things that I'm happy always to share with young people, I always preach, develop some work ethic, maintain your integrity, and never compromise your integrity for anyone. And don't let other folks pull you into a hole when you know this is not the right turn to take in life, or this is not the right thing to do. You have to stand up to your peers and friends and take the advice from your parents, from your minister, and whomever. Know right from wrong, and know that there's a serious price to pay when you begin to disobey the law, when you start breaking the law, when you start hanging out with the wrong people. So the most important thing I want to say to young folks, just continue to work hard, never give up. If you have a question about something, find you someone, a parent, a mentor, a teacher, or someone you can go to who you can feel that you can trust, and tell them what's bothering you and seek their advice, because we all need friends. We all need folks to sometimes cheer us up, help us out, because no one has a monopoly on knowledge. We can learn from each other. So young folks, work hard. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, but when you make a mistake, as long as you're trying hard, you'll be fine. But the most important thing I'll tell you, look yourself in the mirror every morning you wake up and challenge yourself to do that which is right. And then at the end of the day, ask yourself a question. Did I work hard? Did I give my best effort at what I was charged to do? If you can say yes, then you should enjoy the evening sleep. But most importantly, young folks, as I say earlier, at some point in time, as we age, we have to prepare the youth for the future. And I think that you, the youth today, if you continue to work hard, this country will be in good hands. And I look forward to one day for all of us looking you in the eye and passing you a baton and say, you are our leaders of the future. God bless, and don't let no one tell you that you can't be the best you can be. God bless you.
All right, Mr. Gary, your closing arguments.
Well, let me take a moment just to thank you, Kitty, for the spirit that you have in making this program. It's clearly heading towards number one, and I've watched it over the last few years, and I just want to say to you, we're proud of you in putting on something as significant as this to enlighten our people. But you have the talent, you have the spirit, and you have the drive, because I know you almost bugged me to death the first time I got on the show. You wouldn't give up. You came in the office and just took over and made it happen. But that's a good thing. We want to commend you for that. And for those out there don't know, want to tell you what Sekou, Lorenzo, and I do, along with other members of the firm, is we're litigators. We sue people. I had an old lady, Lawyer Gary, what do you do? I said, well, we sue people. They for what? I said, money. Well, if you have an accident, if you have an event in your life that requires you to have a lawyer to fight your battle for you, in the firm of Willie, Parenti, Watson, and Gary is the firm.
Gary.
Call. Give us a call. And again, we're heading in the right direction. And keep your prayers going up. God is too wise to make mistakes. He's too just to be unfair. Thank you.
Right. This wraps it up, y'all. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody. My batteries actually look like it's about to go, so I want to make sure I didn't zoom out before we zoomed out. So thank you, everybody. If you're watching the show, please make sure you hit the share button. They've given your kids kudos and giving your kids some nuggets to take on. So I want to thank everybody. Thank you, Mr. Gary. Thank you, Mr. Lorenzo. And thank you, Sekou, for joining me. And I'm sure I'll bug you again in the next future to do another show. So I want to thank you all. Stay safe and keep
Muchas
doing
gracias. Muchas gracias. Buenas noches.
All right. Buenas noches. Good night, y'all. Love y'all. Bye.
He's great.
Bye-bye.
Good job, kid.